What's up, guys? Welcome back. Just sitting in the truck. I haven't even started it in about 3 weeks just because of the snow and the salt and all that crap, but we're gonna sit in it and freeze our butts off, or my butt off, just because we can. I just wanted to talk about a few things on how to go about modifying your new diesel truck, specifically Cummins in this instance, but it really applies to any diesel truck, because you have guys that have the money and want to do it all at once, and you have guys that don't have the money or just want to enjoy the process like I did and do it one step at a time. But obviously doing it all at once, you have the money to do it, and you know what you want out of the truck and your goals for the truck, and you make everything match that setup, like your fuel and your air and your transmission and everything. But doing it step by step is a little bit more difficult, because you want your torque converter to match the stall in your torque converter to match your turbocharger, and your fueling setup to be comparable for your turbocharger, not too big, not too small. And if you don't have the money to do all that at one time, then you're stuck getting something that'll work with your setup now but also be good in the future, and then you end up upgrading that same part again later because it wasn't enough horsepower, and you just blow all that money all over again, and you don't get your money back out of what you spent the first time. So the best way to do it is, obviously, everybody that gets a diesel truck puts an intake, exhaust, and maybe a tuner on it. So custom tuning with the EFI Live, obviously one of the first things I'm going to do, if not the first. You can upgrade that as you go, and most tuners, like my tuner, charges $125 for a retune, or if you buy parts through them, then they waive the retuning fee. So that's pretty nice, and you can always upgrade that as you need more power and get new parts. The next thing is, air is easier to upgrade first rather than fuel, because it's harder to dial back big injectors to a stock-ish power level than it is to drive with a larger turbo and just not reach its full potential. That's where a lot of people come into compounds, because they have a lot of room to grow. They spool well down low, and they also spool pretty well if you don't have the fuel to really complement them. And the torque converter can be set up, it has a wider range of where it can be set up with the compound turbos, because they spool down low so well. So that's why a lot of people go with compounds. They're a little bit more expensive, but especially with towing, they work really well. So for me, I had the compounds, and for a stock bottom end, going bigger compounds really isn't that good of an idea, because you can bend bottom end parts that are stock. So I went with a large single. It doesn't come into boost as quickly, but when it does, it hits hard. The problem with that is you need the injectors to be able to match the fuel with the air, and you also need the stall on the torque converter to complement the turbocharger. So mine being done step by step isn't ideal, and had I had the money and just wanted to do it all at once, it probably would drive better. Not that it drives bad, but it would just be more optimal. So like I said, first thing you're gonna do is tuner, exhaust, and intake if you want to. I mean, that turbo's sucking in a bunch, so I'd really wait for the intake when you upgrade the turbocharger if you're going to, because a lot of kits that you get will come with an intake that works with that kit. The next thing I'm gonna do is transmission, because these Dodge transmissions are really weak. Now, if it's a Duramax, you do a shift kit. I'm really not sure about the Fords. I've never owned one. But you just want to make sure that your drivetrain is stout before you start adding horsepower. Too much horsepower over a stock level. So after the transmission's done, you're gonna do air and then fuel. So you're gonna get the turbocharger, and I think you would, on a 5.9 Cummins, you'd be good with a 468 on stock fuel. Do not quote me on that. It's certainly not gonna reach its full potential, and it may not spool all that well until you get the fuel, but you could drive it, maybe just not tow with it. I would definitely ask an expert before I do that, but definitely do fuel before air. And if you're not going to go super high horsepower and stock over S475, stock over S480 compound kit, that'll drive great with stock fuel and drive even better when you upgrade the fuel. Singles, like I touched on before, are a little bit more touchy. So first, tuner and exhaust. Second, transmission. Make sure you can hold the power you're about to add. Third, air. Fourth, fuel. That's the general list and order to do things in, and you can go from mild to wild with that. You can obviously upgrade all of these things and upgrade them again in the future. It just costs more money to do so. So best option, not as fun to enjoy the process, but the best option is to do it all at once. And if you want to enjoy the process like me and do things by yourself and learn along the way, and you also don't have the money to shell out all of it at once, then follow that list, and I'll post it down in the description as well, because I know I've been rambling a lot, but just thought I'd, all these videos are about maybe installing a part or things about my truck, but just, I know a lot of people will probably have questions on what to do to theirs, and some people have asked me as well. So obviously you can do the looks thing however you want, but as far as performance go and the power adders, it's better to follow that order. It's just not the end all be all. I mean, you could do fuel and then air, and I'm sure many people have, but just for the life of the drivetrain and the truck and the safety of everything and making things hold together and work the best that they can, that's the order that you should follow. So sorry it's a little bit shorter of a video and it's just me talking, but it's hard to make these in the winter because I'm freezing my butt off right now. I don't want to start the truck and just have it sit here and turn right back off. That's not really good for it in the cold, especially when it hasn't been started in 3 weeks. So I'll try and keep these videos coming every week for y'all, and I hope you'll have a blessed night. Thanks for watching. Please like this video and subscribe for more content. We'll see you later.